Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Shalom, peace to everyone. We thank you from wherever you're going to be listening in from. This is LKM Kingdom Living, Leslie's Lessons Learned. And I'm just so excited for you to be here today with us. I'm excited that, well, Minister Wanda, I can't call you a guest anymore. She my co-host, and I just thank her so much for taking time out of her busy schedule. You know, y'all, she live in Cali, so the time over there is much different than the time over here. So you know, I appreciate her getting up, just wanting to get up and to be here. She's been such a moral support. I just thank God for her. I thank Yahweh for her. You know, she's a beautiful woman of God, and He uses her mightily. She is faithful, and she is about Yahweh's business. So I'm privileged and honored to have her as one of my co-hosts. As you know, I have many co-hosts, and the other ones is doing not many. I have three. What should I say? Five, two couples, and I just um excited that she's able to be here and be a part this morning. So I want to say good morning, Minister Wanda.
Woo! Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's an honor to be here, especially with you and um, my girl. I finally get to be on camera.
I know. I'm excited.
I do. I love me some Ashley. And so I'm just honored to be here.
Yes, and this is Ashley J, my oldest daughter, and she's here with us today to talk about forgiveness from her aspect. But let me speak to you for a moment. Those of you that might have looked in the mirror this morning or sat on the side of your bed and said, "Is life worth living?" So I always bring my listen. I don't bring my camera to be shown. I mean, my mirror, my mirror to show off. I bring my mirror so that you'll understand that I have to look in the mirror also. And this morning I looked in the mirror, and I could either do one or two things. I could look in the mirror and see all my flaws and see all the things that I have not done or that has not come out right, or all those things within me that's just not right. But I choose to look in the mirror and see something different. I choose to look in the mirror and see Yahweh's beautiful work at hand. And if I looked in the mirror and begin to see anything else, I want you to know, first of all, I wouldn't be here. This show would have ended when I started March 13th or something like that. It would have ended March 13th. But because of the grace and who Yahweh is in my life, and it's not about me. It's not about me. So I want you to say to yourself that you choose to live. I promise you, life is worth living. And you see sayings out there that say uh, that Yahweh is bigger than your fears, or you see them out there that say um, faith is bigger than fear. Well, faith, you have to be able to translate faith and to understand that when you get the word inside of you, it's the word that causes that faith to rise up, and then you can begin to live. A lot of times we want to live on just fumes. You know how you have a car and you drive it to, you just only have fumes, and then you're praying to get to the gas station, and some people make it and some people don't. Well, that's our lives as well. We cannot live on fumes. And what does the word say? We cannot live without the bread of life. And I want you to know today that the bread of life, that Yeshua went to the cross on our behalf, which is Jesus Christ, for those of you that um, don't know that he went to the cross on our behalf, that we might have a chance to the tree of life. And I'm just so grateful that he did that. He loved his Father. He loved us too, but he loved his Father enough to go to the cross on our behalf. So I do want to read a little something.
Did you say who you are.
I did. I said I'm Leslie Montgomery. Maybe. Anyway, I am Leslie Montgomery, which I thought I said.
She's
And
my
this is
mama, and she is the reason I'm here, literally, and in life. Okay.
so as you can see, this will be an interesting one today. So sit back, put your seatbelts on, and enjoy the ride. So just before we get started, excuse me, I do want to read this. We was talking about this yesterday, and this is it's a little card that my sister sent us a few years back for Mother's Day, and it always touches me, and I always want to share it. And the card says, the beginning of it, the front of it says, "You make a profound difference." And I want you to know that each and every one of you make a profound difference. And why? You have been created by the Creator, which is Yahweh, Elohim, Yahweh. And He made you. And when He finished with you, He said, this is good. He said He was pleased with you. So it says, once upon a time, there was a man walking on the beach. He looked down the beach and saw a dancer. As he got closer, he noticed it was a young man reaching down to the shore, picking up small objects and throwing them into the ocean. He came closer still and called out, "Good morning. May I ask you what you're doing?" And the young man paused, looked up, and replied, "Throwing starfish into the ocean." He said, "Why are you throwing starfish into the ocean?" asked the somewhat startled wise man. And he said to this, the young man replied, "The sun is up and the tide is going out. And if I don't throw them back in, they will die." Upon hearing this, the wise man commented, "But you have miles and miles of beach. How are you going to do that?" And it says, the young man said, he said, "You can't," the old man said, "You can't possibly make a difference." At this time, the young man bent down, picked up yet another starfish, and threw it into the ocean. As it met the water, he said, "It made a difference for this one." And I want you to know that even in life, that you're here to make a difference. And if you're here today, it's because the opportunity is still available for you to make a difference. It's not about us. Even though we get caught up in our in our differences. Let me just say that. I
Can't
can't
even think of that word.
the word right. Yeah, you're here for a purpose and a reason. So that's why I come every Sunday. I want you to know that your life is worth living. And I want you to go through the week understanding that He loves you unconditionally. And if you continue to seek His face, not looking at your situations, you see how close I had that mirror? Well, that's how close our situations look. And sometimes they overwhelm us. But if we look past our situations, I promise you, you'll have a better view of life and you can make it. So let's get started. Woo, woo, woo,
That was
woo.
good. Okay.
So I'm kind of, I got to do an advertisement. I cannot forget my advertisement. I know you probably can't see it, but this is by Mixed Berries, my niece Christina, and it says LKM Kingdom Living. And it's got the stones around. She knows I love stones. And I'm just so excited to give a shout out to her. Thank you, my niece, and appreciate her so much for what she has done and she does. And to tell you, go on over to Mixed Berries, I think it's .com, and See what she has. And she's an awesome creator. So if you don't see what you want, reach out to her. I promise you, she
She'll
can
come up
do
with
it.
something.
She'll come up with something. So, one of the things I was talking to Ashley about, and it's something we talk about from time to time quite often. And what we talk about is our lives and forgiveness and how it impacts our lives. So I said, Ashley, you want to come on today and talk about your story of forgiveness and how far you've come, and even how about you first tell them what you do for a living and about yourself? How about we start there? But before I let you go, Minister Wanda, as always, every week, tell them who you are, please.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Good morning. I am Wanda L. Floyd. I am a licensed hair care professional. I am an educator. I'm a mother of 8. I do a lot of things, but most of all, I love Yahweh. And so I'm here. I'm happy to be here. Yeah. And that's who I am.
Why, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my dear Ashley, because I got a story before you get started. So go ahead and tell them who you are.
I am Ashley J. I am a wife, a mother, a stepmother. As far as my career, I don't even think of it as my career. This is who I am. I am a couples therapist, and I do see individuals as well. And I'm a relationship and dating coach.
That's who she is. And I have 2 wonderful daughters. Adrian, you might see her one day. But every time I ask her, she said, Mom, I don't do that. I'm not coming on there, but maybe one day. I said, but I want us to come on and tell our story. So I'm working on her. But I remember I was thinking this morning, and I remember, hey, Alicia, we miss you. You and Mike. I'm just all over the place, aren't I? That's all right. I remember when we had bought a house, and I thought I had the flu, and I went to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor to emergency, and the nurses was out in the hall talking, and they said, she's pregnant. And I said, I know they ain't talking about me. I just bought a house. I ain't pregnant. And they came in and they told me I was pregnant. I was devastated. And the doctor was like, well, what's wrong? I said, we just bought a house. It's not ready yet. And he said, it's going to be all right. I went home that day, sat in the recliner and just cried. I just cried. I was like, the house is not ready. That's all I could think of. And my mother used to call me when we bought the house and say, you pregnant yet? I was like, no. She's like, new house, new baby. She used to always say that. I was like, well, ain't no new baby over here. And sure enough, new house, new baby. I had a baby. And when she came out, she was full of hair, just quiet, just like she is now. I had 2 children. I had the one that's laid back, and then I had the one that's kind of me, so.
I don't know if I would say she was you.
But she has been a joy, and I've seen her go through things. Some things I was able to help her with, and some I wasn't. And that's why I asked her to come on today, because I wanted her to kind of tell her story. But I did want to tell my story. And I remember the day she was born. I was at home. I went to the doctor that morning. He says, I'll see you back tonight. I said, I don't know. I got about another 2 weeks. Everything I had planned. I got about another 2 weeks. He's like, no, you be here tonight. I was like, no. I said, even though I forgot how many centimeters I was like, but I could still go another 2 weeks, right? And he's like, I'll see you tonight. I was like, I got 2 more weeks. I went home. I was frying chicken. I was cooking. I was washing the walls down in the bathroom. And then that night, the labor got worse. I went in there, and my husband was trying to get me to go to the hospital.
Asking what she was doing.
Well, I'm going to tell it. So I
That's
couldn't
why
go.
they're really paying, because you in there doing all that stuff, frying chicken and washing walls down and doing that stuff. Yeah.
I had to put my makeup on, so I couldn't go yet. I had to press out my lingerie that I was taking, and I had to do all this stuff before I went.
Did her hair and all.
I had to curl my hair. I had to make sure I was looking right when I went to the hospital. So
I have met my match. I'm just gonna say that. I have met my match. You know, I thought I was a bit much, but I throw in the flag. I do.
I have no idea.
So before that, her dad was at a meeting at the church, and I called his mom. And she's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Oh no, I was just trying to see what time the meeting was over." She's like, "What's wrong?" I said, "No, nothing." And these labor pains just steady coming. So when he came home and I'm doing all this stuff, he's like, "The doctor said you need to go." I said, "In a minute. I'm gonna be ready in a minute." I just had the whole plan, this plan. And my girlfriend called because I had kept her daughter that day. And she called and she was talking to him because I was like, "I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep her tomorrow." And she said to him, she said, "If you don't get the house and get her to the hospital." So I had a plan that she was coming when I wanted her to come. She had a different plan. And she came when she was ready to come. Now she was supposed to come 2 weeks later, but she was 2 weeks early. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yes. And it just makes me think about how my sister and I are very into how we make sure we present to the world. We had no choice. Okay. So am I allowed to talk? Can I go now?
Mm-hmm. And Wanda, step in. Come in and
She got 50, 11 stories. I need to know if I can
go get some popcorn in a minute. Let me go get my no nuts trail mix.
Did you get it already?
I did. Listen, I was like, I need to do a commercial. Can I go off for a minute and get my
You got 2 commercials to do.
Okay, I'm gonna go get my no nuts.
And your book.
Okay.
So we'll keep talking till you come back. So we've had an interesting life together, but we still together. Thank God. There's a lot of parents that the children don't want anything to do with them because of what they've gone through. But the things that we've gone through,
God did the opposite.
yes. And I never left him through the whole process. So through all that we were going through, I was always seeking his face, always praying and asking him, even sometimes to forgive me, forgive me for some of the mistakes I made and some of the trauma that I caused them as well as myself. So what Tiffany's saying, come on through with the no nuts.
Y'all get you some no nuts.
Yes, get you some no nuts. I promise you, if you have a nut allergy, and I started to say a nut like me, but if you have a nut allergy, look, even if you don't have a nut allergy, it's just a good trail. I say trail mix. It's a good mix that you can get and enjoy just sitting around and enjoying it. So go ahead.
So let me just tell y'all, I got my trail mix. When I tell you this is amazing, it's amazing.
Really?
I'm so serious. If you have not tried the Team Child's No Nuts Energy Mix, you need to get you some. For real. I had to stop myself from being greedy and eat the whole bag. I mean, you could put this on your yogurt. You can put it in your cereal. You can throw it in your tote. Remember we talked about the big tote bags? You throw it in your tote, in your purse. I mean, I got it yesterday. I got it a couple days ago, and I was like, "Where's my box? Where's my box?" And I opened it, and I immediately tore it open, and I was like, "Oh, this stuff is everything." I was like, "We got to talk about this tomorrow." So for real, if you have not gotten your No Nuts energy mix, you really need to get some. You really need to get it, and especially if you're having issues with your hair growth, your follicle being rejuvenated and restored. Every ingredient helps to aid in hair growth, so you need to get it. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, every ingredient. What does every ingredient do?
Like it has pumpkin seed in it. It has sunflowers. It has cranberries, and some of these things help with inflammation, so they're anti-inflammatory. Literally, almost every ingredient in here, blueberries, assist with hair growth.
Wow.
So listen, our hair doesn't grow because we don't eat right. So it starts with the gut. This is what you need to be snacking on for real.
Right. Well, there you go.
I'm just Tiffany said we're no nuts about it. Okay.
Plug in. You have another plug in.
That's why I'm out of breath, because I had to run downstairs. But it's gonna give me energy for my energy mix. All right. So we really are coming upon the day, the world calls it the day of prayer. It is the most holiest day of the year, which is Yom Kippur. And as we get ready for that, it's time to do some introspection. And so I created a book, and it's so amazing because we have been talking about forgiveness for months, since March, right? And I created a book that is called, it's probably going to look backwards to you, but it's called I Forgive Me. And it's a time of introspection and reflection and self-examination. What I like about it is that it says, like, today I forgive myself for, and you put the date on it, you write it out, and then you examine all of that. And after you do all of that, then there's a prayer that you can pray to Yahweh about what you just examined and what you forgive yourself for. It's a thick book. It comes with a pen, so it can last you for a little while. If you got a lot of stuff to forgive yourself for, and we do, just get yourself two. But I think it's a great tool for us to have, especially as we're going through forgiveness.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing because I've been using mine. Well, I kind of saved mine for this time of the year. So I've been using mine, and I promise you it is effective. It really is, and it's a blessing. So I don't know what I did with my pen. Did I get a pen? You said a pen?
I'll give you another one.
I just thought about, said, wait a minute. I'm a pen lover. So you don't have to send me another one. I was just like, wait a minute, what? I don't remember the pen.
It's a top with a little jewel on top.
Oh yeah, it's in my pencil thing. Yep. Okay. So thank you very much. I do have mine, and I am using it right now. And on the Sabbath, I pull it out, and what he begins to show me, I put in there. So thank you so much for sharing with us. They can go where and get it?
Go ahead.
Oh, you can go to my website. I have to reactivate it, so just give me a day. But my website is www.wandafloyd.com. So just give me a day, and I will reactivate everything, and you can order straight from there.
Okay, thank you. We got a couple of comments or something.
No, you already said it.
Oh, but let me just throw this in there. Minister Veronica said, Yes, no nuts is a must have. I received mine 2 days ago. So it's going out. It's going out. We appreciate you supporting them. Oh, yes. She says she loves that energy mix. So thank you, everyone that's supporting them. My chat is not effectively working, but to everybody that has come on, we've done a lot of commercials this morning. But we thank you and welcome you for being here. And as we get ready to get started, one of the things I want to talk about before Ashley starts talking about her part, we have done an anthology with 20 amazing women. And in it, it's called The Confident Women Rise. And you can get that. I put the information, the description is in the description box. Minister Wanda's information is in the description box. You can get it from there. And the visionary was Doreen Letson Reed. And Ashley and I began our story with this book. So that's why I wanted to share it. She's in here. Well, it's actually 4 of us in my family that's in it. It's 2 of my sisters. They'll be on in a couple of weeks, but they'll be on during the week because they go to church and different things like that. My other sister works. So as soon as she has a free time from work, we'll be coming on a Sunday, but that'll be during the week. I'm excited that they're coming on. They're amazing women. They have amazing things going on. And Ashley and I began our journey of healing through this book. So I just wanted to put that out there that you can get it on her link. It's Ashley J's, and
it's AshleyJ.com.
AshleyJ.com, y'all. And at this time, I'm getting ready to throw Minister Wanda out here and Minister Wanda have a conversation. And I'm just going to jump in from time to time.
Y'all been watching this show long enough. You already know. Y'all already know. Tiffany, I'm glad you got your shirt. Do you like it? All right. So, okay, forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that I knew about growing up, but it was something that I did not practice. And it's still a challenge today. But on the therapy side of this, because that's where she wanted me to go when I first was supposed to talk. So on the therapy side of this, I see what unforgiveness can do. And it makes you unhealthy, mentally and physically. There's so many people that I see that they come into the office and they are depressed, they are anxious, they are so many things. They think they are going crazy.
Wow.
You know, you have no idea how many times I hear people when they first get to the office and say, do I sound crazy? Is there something wrong with me? Like almost every person that comes in for help, like that's what they say. And I always respond and tell them, no, what you have going on is not uncommon. Unfortunately, it's not uncommon because there's so many people walking around in this world. Let's make it even closer. So many people in your family that are walking in unforgiveness, and you may be as well. And I could talk because I already know, like that was me. That I'm working on it. I say that I'm working on it.
So even for yourself, you can say how hard it made you.
Well, I was getting there. See. Okay. So let me speed up since,
I'm gonna say you're not going fast enough.
I guess not. Excuse me for trying to storytell and set the scene.
Go ahead, set the scene. Go ahead. We might be here till tomorrow, but go ahead, set the scene. You already know. Okay. Go ahead, set the scene.
I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna say 3 things, y'all. So, as far as myself, at this age, I find I'm about to be 39, but I find that at this current state of my life, I am becoming very reflective, and things that I may have not considered in the past, things that um, I have definitely stuffed to the back of my mind, is coming up for me. And I'm on this journey of healing and forgiving. And there was a lot of stone that had to be chipped away in order for me to get to this place, in order for me to have a heart of flesh. Because the trauma that I experienced at the hands of my own doing, sometimes in the hands of other people, caused me to be hard-hearted. I You couldn't say anything to me at all. And I remember as a teen, my mom saying, "You can't act like that. You can't be that way." Why can't I? Everybody else is being that way towards me, so why can't I be the same way? So I did pick up the characteristic of, what you do to me, I'm gonna do to you. I became very vengeful, because you did something to me. I don't feel like I deserve that type of treatment. So since you did it to me, I'm gonna give it right back to you. And that was, like I said, that was vengeful, and that was my way of protecting myself. That was unhealthy protection. So now, and I can even put it to you like this: with my husband, we first got together, he would tell you I was a piece of work. He said he had to cut through the security system that I had around my heart in order to get to a place where we could have a relationship. Because I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll be with you," but he wasn't getting me. He was getting the shallow side of me. So when it comes to forgiveness, it is it's difficult. It's difficult. And like I said, at this age, I'm realizing that I have so much that I need to forgive. And there's reasons why I need to forgive. I need to forgive because I need to be whole. I need to forgive because I got people to reach. I got places to go. I cannot stand in a position where God is putting me in the forefront and I'm walking around angry, but I'm telling other people, you need to forgive that person. That doesn't make sense. So I have to work. It's inevitable. I have to. And I got a story. Few years back, was I pregnant? I don't even think I was pregnant. Oh yeah, I was. I was very early in my pregnancy, so about 5 years ago. It came to my heart to reach out to several people that we had, hiccups in our relationships, and it changed the relationship. And so I reached out to all those people. I wrote them a letter, very personal letter, to each person, and I sent it to them. And it was my asking for forgiveness. That's something I would have never did, but I had to ask for forgiveness. And little did I know that one of the people that I asked for forgiveness was going to pass away not long after that. And I had no idea they were sick. So that messed me up. And I'm going to be very honest with y'all. That messed me up bad because I had no idea. And the fact that she was able to get my letter, she couldn't read it. Someone had to read it for her because she was that sick. Finding all of that out. And I want to say it was like a week or two after I sent that letter, she passed away. And that caused me to say, okay, yes, it hurt. And it still hurts. But also, I was like, okay, I was hearing from my spirit that I need to do this. I have to do this. So
And if I can interject just a little bit, that's exactly what I was thinking. That a lot of this is when we forgive, it's again not doing it with the expectancy that we will get something back from them. But this is truly one of those examples where that act of forgiveness was for you.
yeah,
Imagine if you had not, and this is where again we see Yahweh's love and his mercy and his grace towards us. Imagine holding that and finding out later that that this individual had passed.
yeah,
And we got more trauma. You
yeah,
know how many? That's why we see the people act the way they do at the funerals when they climbing in the caskets and trying to pull them out and all of that. I remember asking my father that because he dealt with a lot of funerals with the organization he was in. He said, "Baby, that's guilt." And so I'm grateful because this act of forgiveness was for you.
it was. It was. And even outside of her, the other people that I reached out to, it was definitely for me. And I just, it was funny to me that I had to do that while I was pregnant. Um, because I prayed for a specific child. I wanted my son to be loving. I wanted him to be the opposite of I thought I was. So I wanted him to be loving. I wanted him to be kind. I wanted him to bring joy to people's lives. And he does. But if I did not put that forgiveness out there, he may not have come out that way. My prayer may not have been answered. So, and he's very forgiving. There's so many times where I lose my cool with him and I go back and apologize to him. And he's like, "It's okay, mommy." So he's very forgiving, and I pray he stays that way. I pray he
Good.
does.
That's so good. So number one, I need everybody to write down forgiveness is for me.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is for me. Then number two, forgiveness affects the next generation. Forgiveness affects the next generation. Go ahead, Ashley. You're doing good. I love this.
So yeah, and then even in marriage, you have to stay in a place of forgiveness. I don't think I have removed myself from forgiveness this whole marriage. And my husband and I have been married for 7 years. I know that's not a long time, but it is for me. I don't think that I have left the place of forgiveness because there's a lot that happens within a marriage because you have two different people raised two completely different ways with different ideologies, with different everything. So because you have two people that are so different coming together to be one, yes, you become one because of your spirits unite, but you got to work at meshing with one another. Like that's a constant work because it's not okay as soon as you get married everything is cool. No, you have work to do to become one. It's an active work. So in the process of it, think of it like digging a hole. You have the topsoil, you got to get through the grass. You have the sediments and everything else that you have to come through, the rubble, the sand, all of the things, the stones, the pebbles, everything. You have a whole lot that you have to dig through before you get to the place that you are happy with the depth of your digging process. So when you are meshing together, you got all that ugly stuff that you have to get to in order for you to mesh. And while you're digging that stuff up, you are seeing these behaviors that you may not have seen before. You're hearing things you may not have heard before. So you have to stay in a constant place of forgiveness so that you can heal and move forward. Because if you don't, the marriage is done. It's over with. That's why you see people giving up so much, because they cannot forgive. They get caught off guard by what they are not expecting, and they get to a place where I can't take this. This is not what it was supposed to be. And then they call it quits. So you have to stay in a place of forgiveness when you're married. But just making it more personal, making it for me, there were things that occurred in my life, things that, I was victimized by, and caused so much trauma. And it made me, I stopped liking people. And then also lost who I was, because I was trying to figure out what was and still to this day, I kind of go through that, trying to figure out what's acceptable for other people, because obviously I'm offending these people all the time. So what is acceptable for me to be to other people when all I have to be is me, just a better version of me?
That's right.
And that started, I was at a very, very young age. I probably would say as young as 5.
Mm-hmm.
I was young when I started trying to figure out how to be accepted, because I felt like I wasn't accepted. And that was, one, at 5 years old, you don't really know anything about forgiving yourself. And 2, as I grew, I was not forgiving myself. I would hold on to the offenses that I caused, which now I'm realizing, well, maybe it wasn't really me that caused those offenses. I was the tool, but it wasn't just me. It was that other person not feeling comfortable, or even just me bringing out something that they need to change. So I did not forgive myself. I didn't forgive me until probably this year. I held on to stuff. I was the problem always. And that's now something that I'm working on.
So can you help us understand and see what that process of forgiving you looks like? What did that look like for you?
Forgiving me, I had to get into a vulnerable place. Number one, being vulnerable, I don't think I would see where I needed to forgive myself. So I had to get to a vulnerable place. I had to be very raw with myself and reflect. I'm very introspective, very. And just going back and thinking about all of the things that's occurred, or, things that I was blamed for, I had to say, you know what? I got to let this go. I can't hold on to this anymore. I have to forgive. I have to tell myself that it's okay. It happened. It's in the past. It happened. You have to forgive. So I had to act like I want to say I would look in the mirror and say, it's okay. Say, Ashley, you're okay. It's fine that this happened, because now you are this person. That's okay. I had to accept me. That was part of my forgiveness. I had to accept me, because I guess I'm on this transparency train, so let me stay with it. Forgiving myself, or accepting myself. I didn't like me because I didn't know who I was and what power I had within me. I did not like me. And part of that forgiveness was learning to like myself, learning to accept myself, and, pave the way. First of all, let the Holy Spirit, my Holy Spirit, letting him speak to me and actually be in a place to listen. He would tell me all the time different things that, I needed to do for myself, and I would ignore it because I don't need to do that. Then I got to a point where I had to really stop and look and say, okay, you're right. I need to do this. I have to heal. And it came at a place where stuff blew up. Things around me just kind of started to blow up. And it caused me to have to step back and look and get through depression. Because depression hit for me. So get through depression yet another time. But this time the difference is that I was learning in the midst of this depression, and was learning to, like I said, accept myself and to love myself, and to forgive.
Yeah, that's good. I think that one of the things you mentioned that is so well, most of the stuff you mentioned is vitally important, but that forgiveness, and you had to recognize a lot of times we allow pride to get in the what happens. Not a lot of times, pride begin. Thank you. Pride pride, pride, pride. It becomes a root, and then other roots come. Pride to hatred, and then unfortunately, a lot of people do commit suicide because they never really get a handle on it, and it overtakes them. So there's a lot of issues there, issues there that we face when we don't want to forgive, when we feel the and we can feel the struggle inside, but we refuse to give up because we feel like we're losing.
We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to feel like we're out of control. And once we start to see the things that we don't like about ourselves, that's when that pride kicks in, and we can immediately shift it to, no, it's not me, it's the other person. And you shut down the process that Yahweh is trying to do on your life to cleanse you and free you from these very things that literally are holding us down, that are keeping us bound and heavy in chains and in prison, like Rick said,
That's true. So, when I think about that, I think about those things. I think about how what happens is when you don't want to forgive, you allow those things to be attracted to your life. And when they're attracted to your life, they cause you to take on a different character, because now that character becomes a part of your life. And you are clothed now with this anger, you are clothed with this pride, and the more it's like a tree. It's a tree. And if that's what you're watering, then that's what you're going to get. It says, like a tree planted by the rivers of water. That just doesn't mean living in the word. That means that part of your life that you're not willing to give up, it can also grow and begin to take over you.
Right.
It's no difference in a tree in a yard that nobody takes care of. Nobody prunes, nobody cuts it back, nobody cuts the grass, nobody trims around it. And everything else takes over. And then one day somebody comes and says, this yard needs to be cleaned up, and clean up the yard. And you say, oh my God, this tree was here all the time. It's beautiful. Well, That's when Yahweh comes in.
Absolutely. And when you
And
talk about that tree, I begin to think about now when we see it in the scriptures, we know what it's talking about, like you said, when Yahweh is dealing with the tree. But imagine when he's not. And so
right,
you have anger and you have bitterness, right? And so it does produce fruit, but that fruit from that tree is now toxic.
toxic.
And anyone that eats from that tree will slowly die.
That's right.
And that's what we're giving out when we don't deal with the anger, because the anger and the pride, because anger continuing to build up causes bitterness.
It does.
And that bitterness is something else. And so we are the tree, but what type of fruit are we producing?
And even that angers hatred. You know, so many different parts to it. I was thinking about I was doing a science project with Marquise, and you know how you take the egg cart and then you put seeds in it, and his seed died, and his mom said, your tree died. And I said, that's because we didn't water it. We forgot to water it. And when we was watering it, it was thriving and it was growing. And then when we forgot to water it, it withered away and died. It died.
There's something that I want to add to this conversation. I want y'all to realize that anger is a surface emotion. Underneath anger is hurt, sadness, pain. Anger is the way it may manifest, but you get underneath that anger, you find out what's really there. So that's feeling like somebody there was some type of injustice.
Right.
So keep that in mind. When you're dealing with somebody that's angry, you honestly see that they're really hurt underneath that.
Yeah.
So there's roots to it, and there's a seed somewhere.
The seed is unforgiveness.
That's good.
So, as I always say, C.S. Lewis says, unforgiveness is like taking poison but expecting someone else to die. And he also said, unforgiveness is choosing to stay trapped in a jail cell of bitterness, serving time for someone else's crime.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we're going to have a part 2 to this. This has been amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you, Boo.
As she was quiet, Ashley, she sat there.
She did.
I respected her time.
She shot the pants off me.
Yeah. I respected your time. Only because you was my child and I wanted you to say what you had to say without me saying, but this and that. No, you did amazing. That was good. It was rich. It was a blessing. And Ruach, as you said, my Holy Spirit. And then she's going to look at me.
I'm going to tell you why I said it like that. Because saying the Holy Spirit, it makes him seem like an object. So I've been trying to figure out the right wording. So I just started saying my Holy Spirit. So that's why I said that.
So Marquise is going to have to give you lessons on Ruach.
Yes.
Just kidding. But yeah, this is amazing. We so glad that you joined us. There's a lot of comments. I don't know if we have time to read any of them, but this is a topic that really has touched a lot of people. We thank everybody for being here and listening. Pray that there was something that was eye-opening that would make you remember that while you're pointing that one, you got 3 more pointing back at you. And because they're pointing back at you, you might want to take a look at that and see what are those fingers really saying to you.
You want to read?
No, you can.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out. I appreciate y'all being in the comments. You have to stay. Michelle Flagg said you have to stay in constant state of forgiveness when married. Tiffany, yes, I guess I would. I thank you for saying truth, cousin. I appreciate that. Ms. Alfreda, forgiveness is so real and powerful, and yes, the next generation needs it. Team Childs, I'm assuming that's you, Rick. So iron sharpens iron, and sometimes that hurts. Dr. Jones. Where am I? Tiffany said, "Who turning that mirror around on yourself, but to get to the other side frees us." Okay. And then Michelle Flagg again says, "Forgiving myself, vulnerability, introspection, letting go, accepting self, learning to like self, allowing Holy Spirit to speak, and me listening, stepping back and learning in the midst of that comes." And then Rick said, "Becoming one means becoming less." Michelle Flagg said, "Pride shuts down the forgiveness process and keeps us on chains." And that's weird.
Well, amazing comments. Thank you so much. So, Minister Wanda, what should they say? What's the word for today? What did you say?
I don't know.
What did you tell them to write down? You told them to write down.
Forgiveness begins with me. My forgiveness helps the next generation. And then I like what Ashley said, that forgiveness is continual. It's constant in a marriage.
Yeah. And while we're on that, starting, I think it's the 17th of September, we will begin in 12/12, we will begin our forgiveness challenge. Let me see if I got the date right. The 11th. We will be beginning our forgiveness challenge. So if you're interested, go on over to 12/12 and get the information. It's our 5 a.m. call. But I promise you, it's not just what you think forgiveness is. You learn so much about yourself, so many different areas that forgiveness fall under. And we know that the creator of that is Alicia Johnson. Woo, woo, woo. And yeah.
Some nuggets too about that forgiveness.
Yeah. So we will have part 2 in about 2 weeks, I think.
Yes, because I want to talk about my baby, my friend, and why it was so important for you to forgive so that it would not affect your child. Because if we sit back and we think about it, I know we can recognize some unforgiveness that we've had after we've conceived our children, and it's showing up in our children.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's what I want to talk about.
Look, I'm gonna try to be quiet on that one. I'm gonna try.
That's
That birthing connect. Oh, well, everyone, we want to thank you for being here, and as I said, we will be back next week. We have Team Charles and Minister Wanda. They'll be back on to continue their conversation. We have some amazing guests coming up. This week on Tuesday on Leslie's Lessons Learned Facebook, I will have my cousin from Hawaii. He is a nutritionist, and he'll be on to talk with us. He's a 3-time Guinness Book World Record keeper, and he wants to talk to us some as well. He's excited. He called me the other day to make sure we were still on, and just preparing for it. It will be like 9:30 in the morning there. It'll be 3 p.m. our time, but he's excited and he's ready and willing. So like I said, if you're interested in the forgiveness challenge, go on over to 12/12 community, the 12/12 community, and you'll find some information on it. Until we meet again, we want to say thank you, and we're honored that you joined us and that you stayed. Oh, before you leave though, can I get you to hit that like sign? Can I get you to subscribe? And can I get you to share? Please make sure that you subscribe, like, and share. I promise you, it'll be worth your time. God bless you till we meet again.